So, these people asked Jesus, "Who are you?" Some thought he was like a prophet, come back from the dead, like you were Elijah that was killed, or Elijah that died, or John the Baptist that was killed. Maybe you're like, come back. One time the religious rulers asked Jesus, they said, "Who are you?" They said, "Actually, you're crazy. You're crazy. That's who you are. You are crazy. Because you're saying like God is your father." They got really cross with that. Jesus, basically he says to them, "Yeah, I do what my father says and do what he told me to do." And they said to him, "You cannot call God your father, because that would be like making yourself equal with him." They said, "Actually, our father is Abraham. Like our father's Moses. Our father's Abraham. You know, we go way back, our generations. We're like the Jewish people, and the promises came to Abraham. We've got very special ancestors." Jesus says to them, "Your father, Abraham, saw me coming, and he cheered." Well, that got them really cross. They said, "You're not even 50. Some of you can say that, can't you? "You're not even 50. "No, I'm not 50. And they said to him, "You're not even 50. You've seen Abraham," because like he comes from way, way back. And then Jesus says this, and it's difficult to get your head round a bit. He says, "I truly say to you, before Abraham was, I am." Before Abraham was, before he was born, I am. And this got them really angry. I think partly because they'd seen the grammar police. And you don't say before I am. You say before Abraham was, I was. But Jesus, he doesn't talk in the past, I was. He says, I am. That got them so angry. Jesus is I am. Doesn't say I was or I will be. He says I am. And because he's I am, that got them cross, because this guy Moses had met them in the had met God in the desert, and he'd had a vision of this bush. He went to inspect it, and this bush was burning. You can read it in Exodus chapter 3. And the bush was burning, and Moses came up to it and thought, that's really strange, because it's not like going to ash. And as the bush burnt up, a voice spoke from it, basically says, "Moses, it's me." And one of the things that Moses said, well, who is it? What's your name? Because he thought, okay, it's God, but yeah, what's your name, God? And God says, I am who I am. I am who I am. So the Jews in Jesus' day knew the story of Moses. Moses met God, and God says, I am who I am. And so now Jesus is saying, before Abraham was, I am. They're thinking, you cannot say that. That's God's name. Jesus is saying, I am. He's saying, before Abraham was, I am. In other words, I'm the ageless one. Abraham has lived, he's died, he's an ancestor, but before he was, I am. I've gone on and on and on. So we're going to think a little bit about Jesus, that I am, the one who is present.